not a trucking channel, and I am not a trucker. Hello, this is not a trucking channel, and this is not about being real. This is about being unreal. I am at a rest area outside of Scranton I'm leaving Scranton, which is a lot nicer than going into Scranton. So about being real is actually a double entendre. I'm trying to make this thing work and it's not gonna happen. How about down there? Sure. Being real is a double entendre because I'm gonna have to make two videos, one for one meeting and one for another meeting. What does it mean to be real? Does anybody even know? I don't know. I do know that if somebody asked me, it was like, do you think this is real? I would be like, it's as real as it is not real. I mean, the premise is that the cutting edge of science right now is telling us that this is not real. They're figuring out, that it's just projection, it's a quantum projection. It's an atomic manifestation of nothing. It's just all empty space. If you look at the atom, there's nothing inside of the atoms. There's really nothing here. It's just the illusion of something. There's, they're figuring this out. Like, I don't know if anybody's talking about it, but you could check out a YouTube channel called Quantum Gravity Research, and they'll explain it. That, there's a few things going on. Like, they're figuring out that one, it's basically like computer generated imaging, but it's not like a computer, it's a quantum computer. So it's quantum computer generated imaging. And they're figuring out that the universe functions, or not just the universe, but reality, all of reality functions as the same way as our brain functions. And our brain functions the same way as a quantum computer functions. So if you stack it up, it's like here's our brain quantum computing, and here's reality quantum computing, and then we're looking out at the interface between the two. And the way I see it is like, if you look out at the forest, you see the leaves, and if you walk out into the forest, you see the forest. But if you're not walking out into the forest, is it even really there? And we used to look out into outer space and you see the stars, and then we got a better telescope and you see more stars, and then you see more galaxies, and then a better telescope and you're seeing more galaxies, and then you're seeing the end of the visible universe at some point. And it's because there's just too much stuff. But if you didn't start looking at it, would it even really be there? And there's so many weird things. They even use that term in physics. Well, they say like strange things, weird things that they can't explain. But I mean, synchronicity is a good example. Everybody's familiar with synchronicity, and it's like that's a big indication that things are not real, because synchronicity doesn't match up with a physical universe. Synchronicity implies like an underlying pattern, I guess, whatever. I think of it as like a dead end. Whenever there's a synchronicity, I think of it as like something couldn't go any further and then it just looped back to its beginning point. But there's so many things you could say about, like, are we real or are we not real? Because, like, okay, but it starts with, Descartes said, I think, therefore I am. And so it's like, okay, we know that we are real because it's like, that's you. Like, you are real because you are you. But anybody else, you are not them. You cannot verify that they exist. It can be the illusion of a person. And further than that, you cannot verify that you exist. You can be the illusion of a person. And the science is indicating that this is all illusory. It's just... And you gotta wonder, like, so about being real, like, they say that all the world is a stage. And what I hear is all the world is staged. Because, I know about false flags. And I know about manipulation. And I know that we're being misled and duped and hoodwinked. And they're getting one over on us. Every time that these major world events happen, we're going to find out if YouTube can speak pig Latin. But, for instance, 9/11, nay, we have evidence, all kinds of evidence, that was a staged event, and they blew those hours to smithereens, with high-powered explosives. And, like, I'm not going to be one of those people who tiptoes around the truth and beats around the bush because they don't want to come out and say it. And then they're going to sit there. Like, I listen to Joe Rogan, and he's always trying to beat around the bush and never come out and say what everybody's obviously thinking. But he's just a shill, really. If you listen to it, he ain't saying nothing special. The truth is obvious. Like, it's false flags. Like, I didn't make up the concept of a false flag. I didn't say pull it. I didn't confiscate the 82 videos of a missile hitting the Pentagon pay. If an airliner flew into it, then why did you confiscate 82 videos of an airliner flying into it? And then the one video we do have, it doesn't look like an airliner. It looks like a missile. And it's hard to tell some things, like, for instance, like Trump getting shot in the ear. Like, I haven't seen any evidence to indicate that he didn't get shot in the ear. But if somebody tells me it's not real, I'm not gonna be like, oh no, it's definitely real, because I haven't seen any evidence. But because I have not seen any evidence, I'm going with that it's real just because I haven't seen any evidence otherwise. Other things you can kind of infer. There's an inference. Like Andy Hook say, I saw all kinds of evidence that was not real, because I was watching the news on the day it happened, and there was helicopter footage of the police chasing effing commandos wearing, like, camouflage pants and black gear. The police chased them up into the woods and then hauled them off, and there was all these people standing around saying, who are those people? Who are those people? Where did they go? And then there's just never hear about that again. And there used to be, I'm gonna make another video about net neutrality, but there used to be long documentaries that you could watch, and I did watch these when they were available, about Andy Hook say. There was a 3-hour documentary detailing one after another incongruencies, things proving that it didn't happen. Another one I remember is that, the donations page was set up like the day before it happened, which happens with a lot of other tragedies. They set up the donation page before it happened. Rorora A, Colorado K, there's evidence for a false flag there. The Las Vegas Ooding Shay, there's all kinds of evidence that story doesn't make any sense about this guy hauling all that gear up into his room, and then he's one guy, but then there's like multiple Ooters Shay. And and it goes on and on. The Austin Bay, Aming Bay, that there's footage of these dudes walking in there. They got like a skull and crossbones on their hat, and then they like leave a backpack and walk out, and then they're like, no, it's this patsy, we chased him into a boat and shot him in the boat. But then it's like, well, who were the dudes who walked in there with backpacks and dropped the backpacks and then walked out with them? So it's like, you never know what's real. And like, they're staging the whole world and all the world events, like the Alf-Gay of Ankinte incident, like, was Jim Morrison's father did that, just started firing at Vietnam, and it was like, oops, we're in a war now, but hey, check it out, my son's a pretty good singer. And everyone was like, the Doors are so great. And then Vietnam was like, please leave, we don't want to be in this terrible war, or whatever. And so, and this goes all throughout history, you cannot believe anything. But it's like, if what they're telling, if all the world is staged, maybe the stage is staged, and maybe reality is not real. So this is not about being real, this is about being unreal. I gotta go, time's up. Love you, deuces.